Welcome to the Forbidden Lexicanum. 40k lore, but wrong on purpose. The Iron Warriors, the building inspectors of the Imperium. Officially, the 4th Legion of the Adeptus Astartes. Unofficially, the Imperium's Department of Construction. While other legions sought glory and honor, the Iron Warriors said, "Give me a hammer, a shovel and 3 years, and I build you a fortress no orc with dynamite could scratch." The problem? In the Imperium, fortress usually meant a wall that lasts right up until Horus says attack. And who got to stand in the gunfire when it collapsed? Exactly, the Iron Warriors. Whenever a position had to be held, one where 3 other legions had already died miserably, they sent in the Iron Warriors. Motto: cannon fodder guaranteed. The records say they suffered the highest casualties of all. Historians call it heroism, the Iron Warriors call it pure structural integrity. From the very start, they were victims of their own stubbornness. Where others retreated or adapted, they dug in. If the enemy had 100 guns, they built 200. If the enemy had a wall, they built a battering ram. If the enemy had a battering ram, they built a thicker wall and then charged it head-on anyway. Losses were astronomical, but no one cared as long as the wall eventually fell. And it did. Always. Usually on top of them. Their Primarch Perturabo came from Olympia, a world that sounds like a gym, but looks like concrete hell. He didn't spend his youth in heroic battles or noble adventures. He spent it drawing chalk lines and measuring angles. Friends? None. The Emperor wanted a radiant general. He got a frustrated site manager who smelled faintly of burnout since childhood. Perturabo was the embodiment of the grumpy foreman. While Gilliman wrote the codex and sanguineous posed with golden hair, Perturabo stood on site, arms crossed, muttering, "If this goes crooked again, I swear." Picture him, eternal frown, pencil behind the ear, zero small talk tolerance. The only Primarch who, when asked, "How are you?" answers statistically worse than yesterday. He had no interest in art, praise or glory, only concrete. Perturabo loved concrete. Some sources claim he once stared at a wall all night because the plaster was just that even. The rivalry with the Imperial Fists is legendary and utterly ridiculous. Both loved fortresses, but for very different reasons. Rogaldon was the architect of beauty, towers, arcs, gold, ornament. Perturabo built brutalist bunkers that looked like 1970s parking garages on steroids. Their feud supposedly began at the beach. Dorn built a perfect sandcastle. Perturabo dumped a pile of cement next to it. Dorn smiled. Perturabo kicked it over. 10,000 years later, same argument, only now with orbital bombardments. There are entire planets reduced to rubble because 2 Primarchs couldn't stop wrecking each other's sandcastles. If an Iron Warrior spotted a fist, it was war. Didn't matter if Tyranids were eating the city, they'd stop mid-battle to yell, "Forget the bugs, there's a fist bunker over there." They had the highest casualty rate of all legions. While others mourned heroes, the Iron Warriors stood at the graves saying, "Well, at least the wall was nice." Perturabo himself once said, "Death is a price we pay." One of his captains replied, "Yeah, but do you always have to pay with a black Amex?" The dug trenches so deep entire companies got lost in them, literally. Weeks later, troopers emerged confused like, "Has the siege started yet?" Their real problem? Nobody liked them. Even among space marines, where brooding and bad tempers are practically mandatory, they stood out. The ultramarines were noble heroes, blood angels tragic beauty, space wolves rowdy party Vikings. And the Iron Warriors? Standing aside, arms folded, muttering, "Yeah, nice, but who's cleaning that up?" In a galaxy full of archetypes, they were the grumpy realists. Their brothers got respect or fear, the Iron Warriors got eye rolls. They were cynical, bitter, permanently annoyed. The idea of humor was reading casualty reports and saying, could have been worse. Perturabo himself had a charm of a broken power drill, efficient, loud, and unbearable in long exposure. Still, they had their style, grey armor with yellow hazard stripes, basically galactic caution tape saying, "Don't stand here, someone's about to die." While others painted murals and waved banners, the Iron Warriors sat in trenches counting ammo crates. Their favorite weapons? Anything loud, heavy and dusty. Siege cannons, mortars, artillery. Bolters were just what they used between reloads. Recognition? None. Every time they won, the reports say, Yes, the fortress fell, but have you seen that Imperial fist builds? Gorgeous. Perturabo boiled until he snapped, "You know what, Emperor? Build your own damned walls," and thus began his road to chaos. During the Horus heresy, while others had grand speeches and tragic betrayals, Perturabo joined Horus simply because, quote, "Dorn's annoying." No temptation, no demonic whispers, just pure pettiness. At Terra, naturally, the Iron Warriors were first in line, cannon fodder delivery guaranteed. They pounded the palace walls while Dorn yelled from above, "Nice try!" But even in chaos, Perturabo wasn't happy. While Fulgrim drowned in glitter, Angron in blood, and Magnus in guilt, Perturabo was still building bunkers in the sand. Demons mocked him for designing machines that weren't chaotic enough. They wanted fire and tentacles. He gave them concrete and right angles. He hoped Chaos would appreciate his craftsmanship. Instead, they said, "Nice work, but Dorn's got more flair." The eternal final of a sandbox feud, two builders ruining each other's castles. Only this time, millions died. Bob the Builder would turn in his grave. After their defeat, the Iron Warriors retreated into the warp and built fortresses there. Imagine demons trying to tear you apart while Perturabo grumbles, "No, wrong mortar mix." To this day, they're the ultimate besiegers, the ultimate complainers, and the ultimate victims of their own stubbornness. Other Chaos Legions party or write poetry. The Iron Warriors sit in the corner complaining about ventilation. Their legacy? Everyone in the Imperium knows them. No one wants to invite them. You don't call the Iron Warriors for joy, you call them when you need something obliterated. As the old saying goes, if you need a wall built, call Dorn. If you need it destroyed, call Perturabo. If you call both, everyone dies. Conclusion: the Iron Warriors, the cannon fodder of the Imperium, the bricks of chaos, and living proof that with enough stubbornness you can bring down any wall, usually on yourself.